Hello everyone, welcome back to FPV Trick Theory, where we improve our freestyle one battery at a time. Today we're talking about improving our hang time, and the obvious way to do that is to slap huge motors on your quad, fly to the moon, and flip over. However, freestyle is a lot more nuanced than that, and I actually like to compare freestyle to music because they're both art forms. And I play the piano, and a fundamental concept about playing the piano is once you press the key and the hammer hits the strings, that note is going to die out no matter what you do. However, the way you play around that physical hammer hitting the strings can actually trick the audience into thinking that note is lasting longer than it actually is, or even that that note is getting louder. And this concept of illusion is also applicable to hang time. So yes, once the quad is inverted, you can't do anything about gravity. You are going to plummet towards the earth. However, the way you fly the quad around those inverted portions of your flights makes a huge impact on how the audience perceives your hang time. So you can trick them into thinking your hang time is a lot better than it actually is, and this in turn improves your flow. So let's see how to do that.
Alright, so I'm going to use a split S to demonstrate a lot of these concepts since we're all familiar with it. So here's what I call a beginner split S. Punch, inverted float, and then pull out, and it's very sequential. So for that inverted float where we're hanging, nothing's really happening, and it's very evident that we're plummeting towards the earth. So instead what we want to do is keep the quad moving at all times, and that helps distract the viewer from the fact that we are just plummeting towards the earth, like so. So a little more flowy, a little more smooth, a little more distracting, and creating an illusion. Now, another concept is that you don't have to be completely parallel to the ground when you're punching out to gain altitude. So for example, I can be like this, or like that, and I can still gain height. And if you get really good at applying this, you can do things like continuously roll without losing altitude, like so. So we can apply that to a split S or really any trick, but we'll demonstrate it with the split S. So we can start rolling while we're still punching out. So punch out, start to roll, keep the motion going. Okay, much more flowy looking, much less aware that we're plummeting to the earth, just looks flowy instead. Another basic concept is sometimes you just got to add a bootload of throttle at the right point. So if we're doing a juicy flick, we just add a little bit of throttle. We're not getting a lot of hang time there. This is kind of a scenario where you just want to mash the gas and get a little more float out of it, like so. And then like a slow roll like that really helps distract the viewer from the fact that you're plummeting. And the last concept we'll go over is something that I touched on in the throttle management episode, but that's that you want to be near objects and interact with objects to further distract the viewer and create that illusion. So if we do that same split S, just out in the open, very aware that we're just plummeting towards the earth, we do it over those trees like I was before, we're filling up the view of the camera, making it a lot more pleasing to look at. I'll give another example, which is just two half backflips. Backflip, backflip. Okay, very aware that we're plummeting. Let's see that again. Backflip, plummet, backflip. But if we do it between these two trees, they're gonna fill up the view of the camera, make it look a lot more interesting. Let's see that one more time. And you can see I'm also adding throttle while I pitch back to make the punch out less obvious to the viewer. So those are the main concepts. You want to blend the punch out with rotation, keep continuous motion, and then fly near objects. And I'll give you one little bonus, which is sometimes you need to save yourself if you come up short. So you can add in a little extra roll or something, and then add a mini punch when you're right side up in that roll. So short split S, mini punch to make it over. And those are some ways you can improve your hang time.
That is it for this episode of FPV Trick Theory. If you learned something from this episode or enjoyed it, please let the algorithm know by liking this video and making sure you're subscribed. And if you get value from these episodes, please consider supporting me on Patreon. As a reminder, this series will cover both concepts and tricks, so if you have a specific trick or concept you would like to see, please let me know down in the comments and I will add it to the list. Lastly, if you enjoy this content and you want to see more, I also have an Instagram page, timmy.r.c. Thanks for watching.